Yo, what is up, YouTube? Today we're gonna react to Llama Arts, the Roommate animated. We're gonna do a couple of Llama Arts videos in this video. I might react to like 3 videos. I haven't really watched any newer Llama Arts stuff like in the past couple years. So yeah, we're just gonna get into this one right here. Yeah, this one's called The Roommate. I'm not no, I do not know what's gonna expect, and I want to check if I'm recording. Yes, I am. But yeah, let's watch this.
This video is sponsored by NordVPN. More details at the end. Looking for a new roommate is always a daunting task. Even though you interview and take the time to get to know that person, you don't surely find out who they are until you start living with them. I began searching for a roommate after I decided to leave my current residency. I was contacted.
Don't mind those kind of ads like that you are being tracked. It's just a scam to try to get me to pay money. Don't mind it.
In a couple of hours after placing an ad on the Facebook Marketplace. The message read,
"Hey Chris, I'll be moving out of my current apartment this August and then looking to room with someone new, as my roommates moved to California this year. I'm 27 and I'm currently going to school. When I'm not at school, I enjoy hiking and watching movies. I also apprentice at a taxidermy shop on the days I don't have class. Hope that's not weird. It's always been a fun hobby of mine. Anyway, I'm looking forward to hearing back
There's nothing wrong with being a taxidermist. There's nothing wrong with it.
from you. Have a great day, Linaire."
My first and most obvious reaction after reading the message was to check her profile. She was a medium height, had long, messy blonde hair and
Okay, she doesn't look that bad. She's kind of cute.
green eyes. In her profile picture, I saw her standing with a man and a woman shoulder to shoulder. They each adorned goofy grins and held up peace signs. Under the photo, the caption read, "Love my roommates." I smiled to myself and decided to send her a message back. The sun beat down on us as we hoisted various objects to the second floor of our new apartment. It took us a couple days to get everything out of the moving trucks and into our new place, but as soon as we did, a wave of relief washed over our sweat-drenched and sore bodies. After a couple more hours of rearranging, we each grabbed a beer from the fridge and sat on the porch. We reminisced about old 90s cartoons and what video games we obsessed over as kids, and as the sun started to set, I truly felt relaxed and confident that things were going to work out.
Yeah, I might do 2, 3 videos from Llama Arts in this video, just kind of get a little compilation in.
A week later, I started a new job for a construction company that was owned by a good friend of mine. As I was getting ready, I heard the front door swing open. I walked into the living room to see Lunaire and her friend David sliding in a large box. "What you got there?" I asked. Through a strained grunt, she replied,
"I bought a freezer to store some of the animals I'm planning on using in my taxidermy work. I hope that's alright."
I was obviously hesitant at first, as there was no mention of this happening in the first place, but I eventually accepted and returned to my room to continue getting ready for work. I came home at around 9 p.m. after having a couple of beers with friends and noticed that the freezer was nestled snugly in the lower part of the pantry. A low hum could be heard reverberating off of the inner walls. I was curious to see what was inside, but didn't want to intrude on Lunaire's business, so I went into my room and changed into more comfortable clothing. After changing, I came back out to the kitchen and started making a sandwich. I opened the fridge and grabbed what I needed. As I turned around, I stubbed my toe on the edge of the island countertop.
Oh, dude, the worst time I ever stubbed my toe, it was so bad that the bone popped right out of my toe. I'm not even kidding. Oh, that's okay. That's bringing back a Vietnam flashback right there.
Exasperated grunt.
Damn.
Through my frustration, I slammed the fridge door shut and checked my toe to see if there was any bleeding. As I raised my head back up,
Oh,
I was
shit.
greeted by a shadowy figure. Lunaire was standing in the doorway leading to her room. The darkness behind her almost seemed to envelop her.
"Is everything okay?"
She said in a deadpan tone. "Shit, yeah, I'm sorry. I just slammed my toe into the corner of the countertop as I was making a sandwich. I hope I didn't wake you,"
"It's fine."
she said, in the same deflated tone as before. She then turned around and walked back into the darkness of her room.
I really like the animation Llama Arts uses. I think it's pretty dope.
I could tell that she was pissed, so I quietly made my sandwich and retreated back to my room as well, only hearing a low hum from the freezer as I closed my door. I had the next day off, so I was able to sleep in a little longer than usual. When I finally emerged from my room, I walked into the kitchen to make breakfast. As I opened the refrigerator, I noticed the light wasn't turning on and there was a lack of cold air escaping from inside.
Power outage.
I turned around and flipped the light switch to confirm my suspicion. Sure enough, the power was out. Damn it, I muttered under my breath. I walked over to Lunaire's room and knocked on her door to tell her about the power outage if she didn't already know, but there was no answer. I then remembered that she had classes that day and probably wasn't home. I walked back to the kitchen and past the pantry. As I did, I slipped on the floor but was able to catch myself on the countertop. What the? I angrily exclaimed, as I looked down at the floor trying to figure out what I had slipped on. It was blood.
Oh,
It started
what
to
the
leak from the
fuck?
corner of the freezer and pool onto the floor. I quickly tried to open the freezer to find out the cause of the viscous liquid, but then I noticed that it had a padlock attached to it. I don't remember seeing that before.
He's a carpenter. He's probably got some tools that he can use.
I ran out to my car and grabbed my toolbox from the back seat.
Was it going to be like bolt cutters?
Approached the freezer and set my tools down on the nearby countertop. I then pulled out a small pair of bolt cutters and snapped through the metal of the
I use bolt cutters a lot. Bolt cutters are very, very useful.
padlock. It fell to the ground with a large thud. I creaked open the top of the freezer and was greeted with a putrid stench that permeated my nostrils. I quickly pinched my nose and
Oh, my friend had a dead bird in a paper bag one time, and I didn't know it, but he told me to just take a big whiff. It smelled horrible. I finally know what death smells like.
walked away gagging in response. I guess I should have realized that was going to happen.
Is it just gonna be like a bunch of dead animals?
Between gags. After gaining my composure, I grabbed some gloves from under the sink and started taking inventory. I could see a couple of dead birds in plastic bags wedged into the corners of the freezer. I took each bag out and set them in the trash can nearby. That's when I noticed that the blood was coming from the corner of the larger black bag.
What's in the
I don't know
bag?
why, but I decided to open the top of the bag and
What's
peer
in the bag?
inside. I was greeted by
Oh! 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 Shit! Oh! 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 Oh no! But is that her roommate?
I could peer inside. I was greeted by large,
Oh.
milky white eyes, a swollen black tongue surrounded by cracked and bloated lips, and the matted hair of a human head. I swiftly dropped the bag and fell backwards onto the floor. My breathing had ceased to exist, and I grabbed the trash can next to me and expelled my disgust into it. I then ran out the door, got into my car,
What the
called the police.
fuck?
As I sat in the interrogation room with a blanket over my shoulders, I couldn't help but think about the face I'd seen. It looked so familiar. That's when it finally hit me. I pulled out my phone and looked at Lunaire's profile picture. It was her old roommate, the one she said was moving to California.
Okay, let's see what you got, Oculus.
That is so fucked.
When the detective entered the room, she started the questioning process, asking me if I started noticing any weird behavioral occurrences around the apartment. Yeah, I stubbed my toe the other day and she creepily stood in the doorway. It seemed like she was pissed, but for some reason I had a strange feeling like she was concerned about something. That's when I connected the dots. She didn't come out to the kitchen because she heard me stub my toe. She came out into the kitchen because she thought I slammed the freezer instead of the fridge. A cold sweat started to form on my forehead as my surroundings became blurred. I could hear a low whine
Yeah, and this is like, I'm pretty sure this is true.
slowly starting to cover up
I
the
don't know.
words of concern from the detective. As my vision started to clear, I could see another officer enter the room and whisper something into her ear as he handed her a piece of paper. "Do you have somewhere you could stay at?" she asked. "I mean, I was planning on staying with my parents. They live about 30 minutes outside of town." "Okay," she paused. "Listen, I don't want to worry you, but we found this picture inside of your apartment." She slid the piece of paper across the table, and I immediately felt like someone kicked me in the chest. The head of my roommate sat on the chair. In the background, scrawled on the wall in blood, read, "Love my roommates. All of them."
Fucking speechless. I'm fucking speechless. That story was fucked. Okay. Yeah, fuck. That story is fucked. Let's try to find something else. Somebody told me that this video was pretty good. It was called Deep Web Story. This one right here.
This is my body of proof.
Proof of less.
Dude, I'm fucking speechless. I am fucking speechless. Dude, that is so fucked. I was kind of expecting that, but not really. Like, as soon as I saw the female roommate, I was like, what the hell? Okay. My friend told me about this one right here, so might as well watch it. I haven't seen it. Creepy deep web story.
I was 26 years old, and I was unemployed. Feeling unfulfilled by the monotony of a job life, I decided I would try my hand at working from home. So my days and nights comprised me of surfing the internet for any jobs I could get. I was a big procrastinator, so more often than not I'd stray away and waste time doing other things. One day, I came across talk about the deep web while on Reddit. I felt amused by the people talking about it as if it was something so scary, and decided I'd look into it. It was stupid of me to go on in the first place, but I made it even sillier by deciding to check it out late at night. It was about 2 a.m. and I came across a website where you could chat with someone anonymously. The person I got was a woman. She was in her early 20s and very pretty. She sat with her head in her hands, looking playful into the webcam while batting her eyes. I had no desire to turn my camera on and started our chat, thinking that while I didn't come across
I'll admit, she's cute.
anything scary, I could befriend this pretty girl. It sounded like a better deal anyway. She told me to turn the camera on, but I ignored that request and tried to get her to talk. She finally did after some prodding, but I noticed how guarded she was. I also noticed how after every message I sent, her eyes would look off camera, either to her side or somewhere behind her computer.
Okay.
After a while, it started getting annoying, so I asked her if someone else was there with her.
I want to see you first.
She said. Up until now, I'd been chatting while she'd answered my questions verbally.
Don't trust it.
I'm not that curious,
Don't be scared.
she said, laughing, this time looking behind the laptop again and making a face that seemed to indicate she was laughing at my expense, with someone else. This is getting boring. It feels like I'm not just talking to you.
That's because you're not. You're talking to all of us.
What
What?
else is there?
Turn the camera on.
I'm sorry, what?
Is this a joke?
Turn it on.
Okay, I'll be leaving now.
Turn on the camera.
Her laughter was almost piercing by now. There was nothing humorous about the situation, yet she threw her head back with riotous laughter. I had enough and moved the cursor over to turn the chat box off when I saw the cursor jammed. The only thing that was working was the chat box, and I still had access to the keyboard.
Turn the camera on, sweetie.
Her gumdrop-filled voice was louder than before, and I moved my gaze up to see her smiling toothfully at the camera. Her face still beautiful, but the smile completely fake. My computer's crashed, I can't see the screen. Sorry. I lied. I didn't want her to know I had no option but to chat. Her screen flashed before going blank. There was nothing there but a black screen. I felt relieved, thinking that at least I didn't need to talk to her while I tried to figure out what happened to the screen. Just then, a chat message popped up.
Open the damn camera.
The aggressiveness in the message frightened me. Now,
This is like deep. This is like dark web omegle. This is literally what this is dark web omegle.
the fact that I couldn't see her face while she typed this made me feel nervous. I didn't dare reply back, but then the cursor moved. I watched shell-shocked as the cursor twirled around the screen.
Open the camera now.
I still didn't make a move. There was no way anything good would be waiting for me if I did what she asked. The screen began flickering, as if a virus was causing the computer to writhe in agony.
Do you want me to find you?
My heart raced. Could it be possible she knew where I was? I started typing. Please stop bothering me.
Then turn on the fucking camera.
By this
This
point,
is literally fucking dark web omegle, dude.
I thought she was some kind of sadist.
Like, go into the comments if you agree with me. Just type if yes if you agree with me. This is literally dark web omegle.
I got her kicks by scaring unassuming people in chat rooms. So I obliged and turned the webcam on. I saw my frightened face staring into the screen. Judging by my face, my attempts at looking tough were painfully unsuccessful. I asked around for the girl looking straight into the camera, telling her I did what she wanted and to stop hacking into my computer. There were several seconds of silence. I kept my stare directed to the little box that showed her camera feed, but it was pitch black. I motioned into the camera in confusion, feeling as if she was messing with me now. Then, I saw another message.
Look here.
After a few seconds of staring at those words, I looked back at her camera, but my computer instantly malfunctioned, and I received another message.
Look here. Don't look up.
The chat was filled with nonsensical gibberish. She typed with such ferocious speed, my screen whirled away with her constant messages. I couldn't understand what was going on, but I didn't look up. My patience ran thin, and I wrote back. What is this supposed to mean?
Oh, look at what I noticed. So look at all of them. Look at the first letter of each of the different gibberish. LOOKUP. She's saying look up, but it's all in gibberish, so you wouldn't expect to find look up. I just noticed that. Holy shit.
Her response came. I read only the letters in bold and shuddered. I looked back into her webcam and I fell back into my chair.
Oh shit.
My eyes widening. She was back there. Only her face looked completely demented. She had a savage expression, devoid of emotion.
I would still smash.
But her eyes were almost popping out of their sockets, and she was huffing as if she had extreme amounts of pent-up rage. The way she looked directly into the camera made me feel she despised me with all of her being. There was no amusement there anymore. Her camera went blank again. Then the chat popped up. My heart stopped again. For a split second, there had been the same blackness, only for the lights to come back on. She wasn't alone anymore. There was a man next to her with...
Why does that remind me of a weird type of pyramid head, like from fucking Silent Hill?
a black mask on. He made no movements other than look into the camera like the girl. The girl's neck creaked to her side. It looked like it was causing her pain, and then the lights went out again. The chat resumed. This time, I screamed in fright and fell off my chair. There was another man with them now. He was standing next to the girl with the original one on the other side. This man had the same mask on, but his hands were grasping the girl's shoulders. Even with the subpar quality of the webcam, I could see the force with which the man dug his hands into the girl. It looked like he could rip her in two. The girl, however, had a huge grin on her face. Her eyes were mad with glee, or so it looked. Her teeth were perfectly lined up as her mouth spread into that toothy grin, but I could see she was in pain. Even with the smallest sign of her smile fading, the man clenched his hands even tighter than before, which made her smile even wider. All three of them were shaking, as if it was extremely cold where they were. After a couple seconds, I realized they were shuddering, like trying to hold back laughter.
What are you laughing at?
I yelled into the screen. They didn't answer, and continued to tremor with concealed hilarity.
What is so damn funny?
I bellowed. They stopped shaking. Within a couple seconds, the screen went black again. When I turned back on, the man no longer grasped the girl's shoulder. Neither was she smiling. All three pointed into the camera. Upon a closer look, I understood that they were pointing at me.
No, there's a guy in the room with him.
They were pointing behind me. I didn't need to look back. I could see myself in the webcam. There was someone peeking from behind me. It was another man in a mask. And according to what I saw on my webcam, he was with me in my room, right behind me. I turned around quickly, but saw nothing where I had seen him in the webcam. I turned back towards the screen and, to my bewilderment, saw a third man in the girl's chat box. He was the same man I had just seen standing in my room. Now, all three had their hands on the girl and were gripping tight. The girl wasn't laughing anymore. She had a look of utter devastation. A tear was dropping from her eye. But it wasn't just a tear. It was blood trickling down her eye socket. She then mouthed the words, "Help me," and the next second she screamed as if her lungs were being ripped off as the screen went black. I immediately got up and pulled the plug out of my computer and backed out of the room. For a couple seconds, I swear I heard her screams, even though the computer was unplugged. The room went quiet, but I was too devastated to stay there, and ran out of my house despite it being 3 a.m. I caught a cab and went over to my friends, who had to talk me down for an hour before I could be calmed. I returned back to my house with my friend a day later. Everything was the same, and after thoroughly checking around the house, we concluded that there was no one there, nor was there a sign of anyone ever having broken in.
Why are you looking at the fucking cookie jar?
I've never gone back to the deep web. My friend suggested it might have been some prank by computer hackers, but the way that girl shrieked, the terror she had on her face, it convinced me she had been a victim herself. I had wondered if I had stayed on for longer, if I would have become a victim too. Could those men have found me? Was there really someone in the room with me? There was nothing I could do, because there was nothing concrete to report to the police. What I did do was throw the computer out and buy a new one. There was no way I could even open it back up after what happened.
Damn, dude. That one is intense. Not as intense as the roommate one. Hold on just a second. I gotta do this real quick. My computer's on low battery, so I just plug it in here. And then there we go. Okay, let me just block out this game thing. You guys can still see me, right? Yeah, you can. Let's see. Which one looks interesting? Home invasion. This one looks interesting.
I have a challenge for all of you. Go to every computer in your house, your mom's, your dad's, your sister, your brother's.
Mr. Beast, I love you, but no. Home invasion horror story.
It was a cold, foggy evening when I contacted a close friend of mine to
Shit, 1983? We're going back to the 80s.
stay at my place for the night. Both of us were only 10 years old at the time, and my parents were often at work until midnight. so I was usually alone with nothing to do except watching a television show or reading a book. My friend Alex had agreed to come over and brought a game of Monopoly to pass some of the time. I also asked...
You see, kids, before, sure, video games were still around like Atari in this time, but really, you had Monopoly. You had video games like Atari and all that shit.
if he was interested in going to explore an abandoned subway station 3 miles away. He seemed excited at first, so we planned to go on the trip in the morning. I remembered that the subway dated back to the mid-1920s and became abandoned in 1932 after the market crash in 1929. I was very fascinated about its
He means the Great Depression.
history, but never got the chance to go inside after my parents had warned me not to enter. As I quietly slept in my bed, I heard what sounded like a gunshot coming from the forest behind the house. Both of us woke up, frightened after what we had heard, and I told my friend not to worry, as hunters tend to go into the forest on frequent occasions, but when I checked the time, it was 11:39 p.m. This seemed very unusual, as hunters only came into the forest between 8 p.m. and 10 p.m. I looked at Alex and decided to get out of my bed,
Maybe he's a late night hunter. My dad used to be a late night hunter.
intending to look through the window and spot for anyone in the forest. The darkness clouded my vision, so I was unable to see anyone in the forest. I turned around and looked at Alex again, when suddenly I heard the front door squeak open. Chills went down my spine. Both of us quietly moved to the bathroom, locked the door, and kept the light off. It was the only safe place in the house. Both of us were terrified as we desperately tried to keep as calm as we could. We heard footsteps getting louder and louder until they stopped in front of the bathroom door. And then this is when the most terrifying sound forced my heart to almost burst. Both of us screamed as the person chopped the door to pieces. It was pitch black inside the room, making it hard to find the vent, and by the time I spotted the vent, the person behind the door had made a hole.
Here's Johnny! That's seriously what it looks like. Is the scene from The Shining where he's like, "Here's Johnny."
Big enough for us to see him. The man adorned black leather and was wearing a plague doctor mask. I scurried back to the vent, but it was too high above the floor for us to reach it, so Alex told me to go first because he was the strongest. He lifted me up on his shoulders, allowing me to open the vent and crawl inside. When I looked at the door again, the man had managed to fit his arm through the hole and reached for the lock. I quickly grabbed Alex's hand, but struggled to pull him up into the vent.
Alex!
I shouted, and began going after him. I pursued the figure until I was led to the abandoned subway deep within the forest. It was chilly and foggy, meaning that I could only see objects within a range of 5 or 6 yards. Inside the subway was a pool of freezing cold water. It was so dark that I couldn't see anything. I had to rely on listening to the screams from Alex and track the source. As I slowly walked through the subway, I was now struggling to breathe under the intense stress and fear of the situation.
Alex! And that water is probably so cold.
I called, but there was no response. I continued walking through the water until the exit was no longer visible. I was now experiencing a massive panic attack. I had lost track of Alex, and I had no idea where I was or how to get out. Where are you, Alex?
On October 19th, 1983, Alex was confirmed dead after he was found inside the ticket office hanging from the ceiling. Holy shit, dude. His closest friend remains missing. Damn. Well, that's going to be it for today, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed that. I'll be doing more videos like these, so yeah. Be sure to like and subscribe. See you guys.